So both Hallownest and Pharloom might have been underwater in the long distant past. And before you say anything, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, oh my god, stizzl, what the hell are you on about? What illegal substances have you consumed and where can I buy them? While I will not give answers to those questions, I most definitely will try to explain my theory in the coming minutes, so grab something to drink and a snack and sit back as I explain why Silksong's world and maybe also Hollow Knight's world were both underwater at some point and what that means for Silksong. The kingdom of Pharloom is full of water from what we have seen. We have the rivers and pools of the coral forest, we have the dank and brown lands of Greymore that look like Detroit on a good day. Please note that I have never been to the US, but need to make jokes that people can relate to. Then we got the greenish water in the nature-filled moss grotto, and also the hamlets built seemingly atop and near a vast body of water, inhabited by none other than Dirty Lamb. Now originally, my theory for the water flow in Silksong was that there is a huge body of water somewhere at the top of the kingdom, imagine something like Blue Lake but with more story significance, that then travels down through the coral forest either into the moss grotto or into Greymore, with all the water that cannot be contained there finding its way into the body of water near the hamlet, which I will call the Ancient Dark Sea, and don't worry, the name will be explained in just a bit. But that sounds solid, right? So yeah, water flows down, gravity exists, Newton is happy, and we can all go to sleep again. The video is over, bye panada. But then I realized something. I noticed these creatures that fly in the fore and background. Those are not normal bird creatures, those look like something that one would see in a sea. And then slowly but surely, my gears started turning. The areas referred to as coral forest, and the other areas also have strong connections with water. The moss grotto, the deep docks, the aforementioned Greymore, all these areas are really tightly connected to themes of water. So let's suggest that Pharloom was underwater. When was it underwater and what are the consequences? Well, it must have been underwater quite some time ago for these types of fish, or should I call them birds, to adapt the way they did. Additionally, some creatures and background elements are connected to the sea. Barnacles normally need to be submerged in water, leading me to believe that these barnacles over here were underwater a long time ago but have since died. And Dirty Lamb over here kinda looks like a very old hermit crab, which also don't have a problem living near or in water. Now with these things established, it's time to move to part 2 of this theory. The remnants of the ancient sea are void creatures that are in both Hallownest and Pharloom. Now before I give you a rundown of why void will be in Silksong and why that has been confirmed before, let me explain why Hollow Knight and the Kingdom of Hallownest are suddenly in the conversation as well. Well, Hallownest follows a similar fate to Pharloom. The remnants of an ancient sea reside at the very bottom of the kingdom. The remnants of a very first civilization, long before any creatures that live on land existed. Hallownest also shows similar signs of ancient beings slowly evolving into something else, with the Uuma, Omo and Uvu possibly being sea creatures that adapted to live on land, or rather in air. Interestingly, the hunter even thinks about what Uoma could be, pondering about it being a creature with ties to the past. The Fog Canyon, where those enemies can be found, are also part of the naming convention we see in Pharloom, with areas being related to water in some way. After all, canyons are most often empty riverbeds. Also, Team Cherry don't put things into their games without a reason, so the counter-argument of, well, maybe Team Cherry just wanted a jellyfish in the game and that's it, doesn't really cut it, especially if there's more evidence that my theory is correct. For example, the area named Ancient Basin also refers to something that held water a long time ago. Additionally, the fact that the background for the abyss is what seems to be a dried up well only adds fuel to this theory. Many other background elements and Geo itself also depict something from a long time ago, fossilized remains, many of which could have originated from the water. And exactly these connections are what we are gonna explore further now. It is no secret that Team Cherry planned for Hollow Knight to have water levels, with, for example, On's little residence originally being submerged in acid or water. But what most do not connect with this is that there was another expansion planned for Hollow Knight. Not the Hornet expansion that turned into Silksong, but the Abyss expansion. The Abyss expansion not only would have had 4 bosses, but also would have let us explore the Lake of Void, since what we've seen in Hollow Knight was seemingly only the shore of the Abyss. Now, why is this important for Silksong? Well, Void will be in Silksong. That is confirmed because Sharpe will be a recurring boss in Silksong, and he is confirmed to be made of Void. Sharpe is also interesting because his existence brings into question a lot about what we seem to know about Void, like who does he work for, why is he sentient, and how are these steel creatures and also Steel Soul Jin from Hollow Knight connected to the Void. So what I'm suggesting here is that an ancient civilization existed long before the events of Hollow Knight and Silksong, and that they were sea creatures and lived in a huge sea that submerged both what would become Hallownest and what would become Pharloom later. The first civilization being underwater, with creatures maybe even worshipping what gave them life, would make sense because, you know, water is what life emerged from in the real world as well. The sea eventually, for some reason that is above my pay grade, retreated back into the depths of the kingdom, only to be seen partially in Hallownest and supposedly also in Pharloom at some point in the game. One must ask themselves here what caused this to happen. If so much of the sea really dried up, why did it dry up? Did the ancient civilization lose its power naturally and had to retreat? Or did something with powers like the delicate flower, for example, restrain the Void this way? Anyway, that's something for the comment section. Let's stay a bit more on topic. Creatures adapted to a life without the sea. These creatures may have been ancient, but supposedly lived far enough away from the Void and the bottom of the ocean to not be affected by it directly, therefore not showing symptoms of black goopiness in the present. Only the bottom of the now dried up ocean is still an ocean or a lake and is tainted by Void. Additionally, someone must exist or must have existed that named these areas, especially the ones in Silksong, and was aware of their past to some extent. Because while Greymore and Moss Grotto might be self-explanatory, connecting the lava area with the watery theme and naming it Deep Docks is something that probably only a character with an understanding of the history of Pharloom could come up with. And finally, someone or a group of people might have been able to locate and utilize the Void and the Abyss in Pharloom, which could lead to the explanation of how Sharpe can exist. Kinda taking what Pale King did in Hollow Knight a bit further. Or Sharpe is a straight up descendant of the first civilization. With Sharpe taking on an important role in Silksong, we can expect to learn more about Void and Pharloom, meaning that I also think it would be possible that Hornet could learn how to dive, and that we might get to explore the cut content area from Hollow Knight, the Abyss expansion, in some shape or form in this game. My brain's now empty, and to be honest, it probably was empty before as well. Naturally, take every paragraph of this video with a grain of salt and tell me your thoughts below, because this video is only the beginning of a larger conversation to see if there's something robust behind my theory that we can expand upon, or not. Support me on Patreon for $1 and or subscribe to show that you're a very nice person and deserve at least 4 cookies. Have a nice day now, and bye panada.